Shalom, 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 shalom. We give praises and honor unto Elohim for who he is. We are grateful to be alive today, to come before you in good health, with a sound mind. We are grateful for all the things around us, our family members, our friends, even our enemies. We praise Elohim for who he is. And we say that he is the greatest among all. We bear witness that there is but one Elohim. He is the beginning and the end. He is the first and last. He is the one who was there for us even when we were weak. We thank him for all of the prophets who came before us from the book of Genesis, even to the last book, Revelations. Then we bless him for the apostles who came. We can never thank him enough for the Messiah, the one who was hidden in the seventh heaven, even Yahshua, our Mashiach, our Redeemer. We thank him for being there for us. So I hope you are all doing well. I hope you are all excelling. I hope you are all doing what you are supposed to do. I hope you've been doing your research. You are able to compare and to contrast. I hope you don't just take for granted whatever thing you hear on social media or in your church. I hope that whatever information you receive, that you will also digest it yourself and do some further research and expand on it. The scripture says that precept must be upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, so that we all might be emancipated from mental slavery. So we greet you once again, today being the 11th of the 11th month according to the Gentiles calendar, 2023. We are grateful to be alive. There are so many crazy things that are happening around us. You have all manner of news, you have bombings, you have whatever you want to call it. We give praises and honor unto Elohim, for without Elohim, we will not be able to have access to all of these things that are happening around us. People are dying, people are being born, babies are being bombed by the Israeli forces. They lied to you that they were going to fight so-called terrorists, and because you are naive, because you've been brainwashed, you bought into that idea. And now after like almost a month, they've slaughtered thousands of kids and women, and they are bombing a place which was one of the most populated small place on earth. They have brought everything to the ground. They are still doing it, even though UN have voted against them. They don't give a damn. They can do all of these things. And yet your preachers do not see. Your preachers are blinded to tell you that, oh, it's all right because they are the Lord's chosen according to them. So as for them, they can kill babies. They can kill women. They can kill whoever they can kill because according to your preachers, it's all right because they're the Lord's people. These are snakes. These are dangerous entities. These are people with so much hate in them that you can cut it with a knife. The amount of hatred they have for the people they refer to as Gentiles. Many of these Christians who support them unknowingly do not even know who these people are. They've never been to Israel to encounter the level of racism out there. To them, it doesn't matter whether you are black or white, as long as you are not an Israeli or a Jew. They see you as Goyim, as a Gentile, as when you read the Talmud, anyone who is a Goyim, according to the Talmud, you can be killed like an animal. So when you listen to Netanyahu and the defense minister, they refer to the Palestinians as animals. You might think that maybe it's just a speech. No, this is something embedded in them from infancy through education. It's been embedded in them. They've been taught to reason like that. So when they are killing you, they think that they are doing the so-called Lord's work. So I hope that you are paying attention based on all the things that are happening around us. When the so-called attack happened, you saw all of these false prophets, and when they came out, they were trying to tell you that, oh, it is all the Arabs are going to go against Israel, and then the prophecies of Zechariah, the prophecies of Ezekiel, they were lying to you because they know that you don't read, you don't pay attention, you've not been paying attention. There's no Arabic state that can even fight Holland, let alone Israel. Go to Saudi Arabia, go to Dubai. Where are the Arabs? The real Arabs are in tents on camels. They are fat, embedded with diabetes because they live in a climate where it becomes like 50 degrees. You can't do gym outside. So they've been eating all manner of camel and lamb, and they are huge people. And even when you go into those Arabic nations, you will see that they are not many. You go to Dubai, foreigners are 90% plus. The real Arabs are not many people, but over the years, as they tricked you into believing that it was these Arabs who were referred to as the Moors, and then they came and they conquered Europe and they were so skillful. But when you do the studies and you look at the Arabian Peninsula, even like 100 years ago, it was desert. These were people living in tents. But they've been lying to you because they want you to accept the fact that anything black means failure. So they don't want you to like be able to connect the dots and be like, there were some black people who ruled Spain and Portugal and most of the European places for almost 1,000 years. No, it doesn't fit in your head. So they have to tell you that there were some Arabs. Where are the Arabs at? Palestinians are being bombarded left and right, and the Arabs, they have no sword. They have no weapons. You go to all of these, you can go to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, Dubai, Qatar, Bahrain, all of these so-called Arabian nations, they don't have a force of themselves. America has military bases there. America is actually their protector. But they told you, oh, the Arabs are now surrounding Israel and the Bible. You people are sick in your head. These prophets. And this is the danger. This is what the scripture warns you about. That these people, they will raise up prophets for themselves. They will raise up apostles for themselves who will be telling you what you want to hear. So when reality is there, when we come in the volume of the book, back to back, we've been showing you for years that these people were imposters. Look into the region. Just pay attention. Use science as your foundation. When you go to Africa, the whole continent is black. If you find any white boy living there, it means that person has just migrated. It's not the original man. You can't tell me you have white people working on a desert and you are saying that they are aboriginals. White people can never be aboriginals. They are not the original people. They are imposters. That's why they are called Jewish, Israelis. That should even frighten you. How come they don't refer to themselves as Israelites? They tell you they are Israelis. But your pastor, has changed it to mean Israelite. But they themselves do not even refer to themselves as Israelites, but Israelis or Jews or Jewish. impostors. And when you cut their blood open and you test it, there's no difference between those people and the people in Poland or Bulgaria or Romania or Russia or Ukraine or the Dutch people. All of them are the same people. All of them are of the stock of Edom, of the stock of the rejected seed. These are the serpent seed. These are the people that go around the globe, and all that they project is manslaughter. All that they project is deception. All that they project is slavery. All that they project is white supremacy. And you are there because of your nonsense religion called Christianity. You don't want to read. You don't want to face reality. You don't want to pay attention and be like, hey, if this is wrong, when Mr. A does it, then if Mr. B does it, it is wrong. How in the heck can you accept the fact that soldiers are bombing babies? Babies. When they show the pictures, thousands of babies are bombed, their heads are open, and Christian in Africa can look at the pictures and be like, they are God's chosen. So there's nothing wrong. You are sick. Your name is in hell already. Elohim cannot accept such people in the kingdom because your heart is damaged. You have a heart of a beast. So pay attention. Whenever we come, we've been teaching you for years. Sometimes our messages sound ugly. They sound so harsh, but that's what you need. You need mad prophets in your midst because it is a mad society. If you send these feminine so-called prophets to come and be like, oh, the Lord loves you so much, sister, master, please. You didn't change. You've been hearing it. It gives you false hope. It makes you accept any nonsense they give to you. So when COVID came, and that's the whole thing. Anything that happens, they are the first people to panic. When things we don't panic, we are living in hell already. So when COVID comes, it doesn't frighten us because malaria alone kills more than 20 million people in Africa every year. And what is COVID? But you, the one who will tell you that, oh, you are so wonderfully made and the Lord will protect you. As soon as something hits, these are people who are even expecting rapture. You want to go to heaven, but you don't want to die. So when something happens, they are the first to tell you, oh, you have to be careful, the 666 and whatever. And then 2 weeks later, they are the ones who took the injections because they wanted to fly and go to Brazil and so-called evangelize to them and go to Congo. If there are no prophets in Congo, what makes you think that your presence there for like 2 days can change the Negroes? You even your own mama that you are living with, you've not managed to change her. And you think when you go to Ghana and evangelize for 2 days, you are saving souls. And then they share pictures and tell you, oh, look at how wonderful the conference is. 100 people gave their lives to Jesus. Something is wrong with you. All of these people that claim that they've given their life to Jesus, these people came from churches. They are not unbelievers. Once you are gone, they will return to their churches and continue the same nonsense that they were living. So please calm down, open your eyes. Crazy things are happening around us. Open your eyes, pay attention. Because when I look at what will come after us, if the foundation is not laid properly, it's done. So when we come in your midst, it's not that we are angry or whatever. We are telling you reality because what they are doing, and you will see examples in what we are about to show you, what they are doing and what they've been doing. If you don't have the eyes to see, for the scripture say that woe unto you, for you think that you are seeing, but you don't see. You think that you are hearing, but you don't hear. Say, blessed are those whose ears have been anointed with or whose eyes have been anointed with eye salve that they may see. And blessed are those who have the ear of the Spirit, whose ears have been circumcised. Are your ears circumcised? Once you hear something which is contrary to the nonsense you've been hearing in your church, you want to run away and hide. Calm down. So today we will be finalizing and concluding on our theme or our topic. So the focus is on education, but the theme was the powers
of the
West. I think the first one was the sword, and then there was a media. Yes. So we started with focus on the sword, and then focus on the media. And then today we are concluding with education. We should have maybe started with education, moved to media, and then with the sword, but all the same. That's why I wrote down that the enemy
uses education to groom you.
So when and we've been told that religion is the opium of the masses, which is true, but the indoctrination of education is something you cannot quantify, because it is that which shapes you. Imagine, for example, this country, you have to go to school until like you are 16 or something. It's compulsory. So it means that they are going to indoctrinate you from the age of 4 to when you are 16. And most of the people don't quit school after their 16th birthday. They go on. So by the time you are done with masters, you are approaching maybe 30. It means that for almost 30 years, they fed you with whatever information they wanted you to have. And it becomes part of you. They fed you with history. That's why I gave you an example about the mosque, what they taught you, and the mosque with Arabs, and then they show you pictures, but they are no white Arabs. So I said that the enemy uses education first to groom you. You are a kid, you go to daycare, they groom you. Nowadays, you give birth because of the circumstances. You have to hand over your 3-month-old child to unbelievers for them to take care of your child. You think you have any authority over that child? 3 months is being groomed already by all manner of people who smoke like 20 cigarettes in 1 hour, and then after that they come and change the diapers of your kid. No. After the day, you are handed over to what they call the primary school or basic school for the brainwash to continue. So the enemy, first, they use education to groom you. Listen?
And then uses religion to tame you.
And then after that, once you've reached a point, then they use religion to tame you. Why do they want to tame you? Because they know that the ordinary man, if you give him freedom of thought, that person one day might be like, hey, this democracy is fake. This thing is fake. We can't accept this. So let's give them religion. So in case something happens, then you will have the religious leaders. So once Dan William comes out, or the popes who controls like billions of Catholics, should anything happen, and your leader comes out, the Pope, and be like, guys, let us all accept this injection of COVID. Ordinarily, Catholic goers or Catholic people will go and accept it. They have the same thing in the Muslim world. They have the imams, the ayatollahs, and whatnot. All of these things are put there so that once they speak, Duncan Williams, when COVID, we will break it, we cut it in asunder. And then when that didn't work, they introduced the injection. Duncan Williams was the first to go and take it. And then he stood in the church. You see, I've taken it by the power of the blood. Nothing has happened. So all of you go and take it. And everybody's like, yes, Papa, yes, Papa. That's what religion does to you. You forget what he told someone who was breaking the spirit of COVID. All of a sudden, went to accept an injection, and it doesn't trigger something in you. It means that spiritually you are blind, you are sick, you are a sick man. So they used religion to tame you.
And if you rebel,
And then, if religion doesn't work,
they will use
and
the
you
sword.
rise up,
Mhm.
then Edom will use the sword to kill you. And that's what they are doing in the Middle East right now. They are using, first, when you are born into Gaza stroke, they use education to groom the people. And then religion, Islam, it's of peace, but the Hamas people practice the extreme level of Islam. We say that you have to defend yourself. So once they see that religion was not able to tame you, now they send in the Maccabees tanks. They can aim a tank on a baby and blow the baby away. They call it the Samson, whatever they call it, strategy. So to them, they have this strategy that once even a small boy has maybe committed a terrorist act, or what they call it terrorist, but when they do it, it's not terrorism. But should a black person or a colored person do it, then it is called terrorist. Then they have this strategy of a Samson strategy, meaning that they don't give a damn about civilians. They look at where that person lives and they bomb the whole place. And that's what they are doing right now. So if someone, for example, shoots from, let's say, a building that contains maybe 10,000 people, the Israeli strategy is 5 minutes later, they send one small bomb that hit that flat. It doesn't explode much. That is the sign that within 10 minutes, they are going to destroy that flat. So within 10 minutes, if you don't leave that flat, then they send the jet fighters. People, go and look at it on YouTube. They destroyed the whole building. They don't care whether maybe they are sick people who cannot be moved in the building, or maybe even someone was asleep and didn't hear about the warning. They don't give a damn. And that's all that they've been doing. So all your people who rose up, the Martin Luthers and what is their name, Malcolm X, what happened? First, they used education, it didn't work. Then religion. And then when they saw that religion wasn't working, then they shot them dead. They killed them. So pay attention, people. So this is what we are going to discuss today. So you have your pen, you have your paper, write down your questions, and we will do our best to address them. So this is the table of contents. We have introduction, and then we have brief history about education, and then the mixed education of the chosen seed. We've touched on this before about education, so that's why this looks a little bit different. We are taking it from a new angle. So it will be on the mixed education of the chosen seed. We don't care about Arabs or Edom or whatever. Let's talk about us. They are not discussing us. You are the ones, black people, you have so much troubles, you forget about your troubles, and you are discussing others. When you go to you think North Koreans discuss Africans, or Japanese people, or Chinese. When they discuss, it means that they are going to rob your country from its natural resources. That's all. So how the Negroes became Christians, and then we will look at the hypocrisy of the Western educational system and conclusion. So it looks short, but once again, don't be deceived. So, of course, send your questions. We will see what we can do. So let's go introduction. Listen.
In this concluding session for our theme, Powers of the West, our focus this week will be on education.
So we've already touched on media, sword, and now the concluding aspect is on education. Listen.
Education, though good, is the most dangerous tool in the hands of our enemies.
So I put down that education, even though it is a good thing, It is the most dangerous. Two, in the hands of your enemies. If it is not in the hands of your enemies, and you yourself, you are the one who is controlling it, that is fine. But don't be deceived that you are living in Africa, therefore you control education. You don't. It is a system that was set up by the Romans. They control what is being taught in Congo, in Ghana, and whatever. Listen.
It is the most dangerous tool in the hands of our enemies and the ones who rule this earth.
Listen.
Education is used to shape you from infancy and to indoctrinate an individual based on the direction of the powers that be.
So if you pay attention, they always add new stuff to it. It means that they've discovered new behavior. They've invented new things. So whatever direction they want the population to go, they will add something and they'll begin to teach the kids. You might see it as not dangerous in the beginning, but as time goes on, and that's what deceives Black people. White people think centuries, generations, millenniums. They are willing to sacrifice a whole generation and trick the next generation with new information. So they know that as for you are now, maybe you are developed, you don't believe anything. So they focus on the basic education. That's why they are trying to bring this nonsense, bestiality, pedophilia, LGBT. They want to teach that at the basic level. You might be like, oh, the kids. If you don't pay attention to your kids and you don't talk to them, by the time they reach 8 years, 10 years, they are doomed. If they are girls, they want to be boys. If they are boys, they want to be girls. Listen to the book.
This is a quote from Malcolm X. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today.
So this is education in its innocent form. If it is in its innocent form, so innocent form meaning no strings attached, no influence, no crazy influence from the West, then it is the passport to the future.
For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today.
That's Malcolm X. Listen.
This is from Martin Luther King. The function of education is
to
teach.
You have from the Muslim perspective, Black Muslim perspective, and now you have from the Black Christian perspective. He said the function of education
is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically.
But is that what is being taught nowadays? Everything is AI nowadays. They don't want you to think. Listen.
Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education.
That is the thing. True education is what we are after. But unfortunately, what we are discussing today is not true education. Though the term is education. It's a messed up education. It's a brainwashed education to groom and to tame you so that you don't rebel against the system. So they've groomed you to a point that, oh, it's a democracy. So once I've voted for someone, even though he's killing people, even though he's corrupt, even though he's abusing, he's destroying this country, oh, I can't do anything. I just have to wait until the 4 years is over, and then we will go and queue and vote for a new person. That's what they've taught you. So they are destroying your country and you can't do anything. You are just hoping that 4 years will come. By the time the 4 year comes, maybe you are dead. The policies have killed you. Look at Africa. They should be chasing their government away every week. But they've been tamed, they've been groomed to accept, oh, don't do anything. It's a democracy. Let's wait 4 years and then listen to the book.
And the great dragon was cast out.
Revelations 12, verse 9.
The great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
So, like one of their people said, he said that hell is empty and all the demons are on this earth. Shakespeare said that hell is empty and all the demons and the devils, they are on this earth. Those are the people you see when you take the subway, you take taxi, you take bus, you see people look so innocent. Some of them are killers, murderers, rapists, kidnappers. All of these people are there. You behold them, your neighbors, some of them are terrorists, drug dealers, warmongers, but you see them outside innocently, but they are demons. So the devil who has deceived all of us, everyone, once you are born into this earth, you must be deceived first. So when Yah shows you compassion and you begin to have an understanding, or your brain begins to accept new information to challenge what you have learned for 30 years, for you to be able to begin a process of unlearning what you've learned, you are doing well. Listen.
Daniel 11, verse 32. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries.
So he's corrupting the people who don't want to hear anything that is truth anyway. So he's corrupting them with flatteries.
But the people that do know their Elohim,
but the ones who know their Elohim,
shall be strong
and
do exploits.
So they are corrupting the whole mass. If education doesn't get you, religion will get you. So you hear all manner of things. Oh, we are conquering. What we are doing. Negroes conquering Europe. We are conquering this. Oh, there's this revival which is ongoing. They believe in these flatteries. There's no scripture from Genesis to Revelation that this earth will be revived. Yet these people miraculously are doing better than Elohim himself. They are reviving. When we pass through the streets of where these so-called revival are taking place, we ask ourselves, where the revival at? Where is it? The places are becoming colder. People are becoming like beasts. More batty men, more batty women everywhere. Yet we are being told there's some level of revival. Flatteries. Christians, they walk in Amsterdam with banners. And someone is standing there. You can't change every person anymore. Not with the same nonsense. They come to someone who is a fornicator. You now bring a placard, and now he comes in and he finds more fornication in the church than where he's even coming from. Fornication in the church is more legal now. It's legitimate. It's free. As long as you can become a hypocrite. You can tap it for free. When he was outside, he had to go to maybe Central Station and pay. In the church, you don't pay for fornication. You chop it for free. Listen to the book.
Verse 33, and they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword and by the flame, by captivity and by spoil.
That's why
many
we are
days.
Here. We try to teach you. We try to bring new information to you so that you may begin to unlearn the brainwashing. But when you hear our voice, or maybe the jalaba we wear, you hate us because we don't come in your mess with suit and whatnot. They want the ones who show pictures about they picking someone up at Schiphol Airport and they call him mega prophet or major prophet. And they say that today's conference is fire. and go there and you fall down and he spoke to you about your past and maybe about your future. You are so happy. Nothing has changed. You are still doing what you are doing. He will collect maybe your money, go back, and then he shows you a picture when they are traveling. They have Gucci bags, Gucci suitcase. Prada, they show it to you. It's your money. Oh, goodness and mercy. Listen.
So the brief history about education. Perhaps the earliest form of school, the earliest formal school was developed in Egypt's Middle Kingdom.
They are already telling you that the first formal school, and this is why they don't want you to accept the fact that Egyptians, the original Egyptians, were black. Because that's where development, that's where everything started from, the Nile River. They've been telling you that you came from somewhere from Baghdad in Iraq, the Chaldeans, whatever. But how come they're telling you that perhaps the formal education started in Egypt? How come it didn't started in Baghdad, as they've been telling you? Huh? And they want to trick you. Oh, everything started in the Chaldean, in the Baghdad. This is a desert zone. Garden of Eden in Baghdad. Does that even make sense to you? A desert zone being called Garden of Eden. So he said that perhaps formal education started
in Egypt's Middle Kingdom
under
the direction of Keti, treasurer to Mentuhotep II.
Yes, sir.
In Mesopotamia, the early logographic system of cuneiform script took many years to master.
Listen.
Thus, only a limited number of individuals were hired as scribes to be trained in its reading and writing.
Later still,
in Babylonian times, there were libraries in most towns
Babylon
and
is still
temples.
not Africa. Don't let them lie to you. Babylon you hear about is still North Africa. Listen.
Later still in Babylonian times, there were libraries in most towns and temples. An old Sumerian proverb affirmed, he who would excel in the school of the scribes must rise with the dawn. In the Islamic civilization that spread all the way between China and Spain during the time between the 7th and the 19th century, Muslims started schooling from the year 622 in Medina, which is now a city in Saudi Arabia.
So all of the people were black. When Muhammad was being chased, where did he run to? Ethiopia. It's in your Quran. How come he didn't go to Europe? But he went among the same black people, as the Messiah did when they fled into Egypt to hide among his own. Listen to the book.
Schooling at first was in the mosques, but then schools became separate in schools next to mosques.
So that's how it started. That is the brief history. Continuing in the city-states
of ancient Greece.
So have you seen it from Egypt to Samaria to Babylon, blah, blah. They are not going to talk about Greeks. But when you go to school, they tell you everything started from the Greeks people, the Greeks. And then he tell you, and Alexander the Great, and then the guy was so mighty, and he fought so many wars, and there was a day that he looked and he asked his soldiers, is there any kingdom left that I have not conquered? And they said, Master, you've conquered all. And then he wept because there was no force that he could now go and conquer again. And then they show a picture of this guy. There's a feminine-looking Batman. Yet, they made a superhero. All lies. We never heard about any Alexander the Great in Africa. He never came to Congo or South Africa or Ghana. We never saw him. When they're doing their things, killing themselves in Europe. And that's the whole thing. When Europeans are fighting, they make it a world event. World War I. What is World War? And then World War II. Who was fighting in Ghana or Congo? How Europeans fighting themselves, killing themselves become World War? And we are being taught to accept that as fact that there was a world war. Do you know what it means to say the whole world is fighting? And later on, I will show you a map. Which shows the wars that, because they try to brainwash you to think that, oh, and Africans, they were always fighting. And Europeans have fought among them. That's why, and you can see it because, like, if you look at Africa, look at Congo alone. One set of people, look at the country they control. 90% of the country is not even being used because it's too big. But look at Europe. Tiny, tiny, tiny places. Holland is small, Belgium is here, Russia there, this is here, Australia. So they've been fighting, trying to conquer. But they tell you it's World War I, it's World War II. Now there's World War III. So then our Hebrew brothers, they will come and go and read Revelation 6 and 7. And then they called the first war of the angel, they call it World War I. And then the second war, that is World Massa. If you want to be a Hebrew, be Hebrew. Don't bring this Christianity nonsense into it. Listen.
In the city-states of ancient Greece, most education was private, except in Sparta. For example,
when it says it was private, and that's what Chris taught last time, it means that they were massaging the boys. So most of the people that went through the educational system, girls were not going to school, were boys being massaged by Plato, Aristotle, Pliny, and whatnot, Plato and them guys. So all of them became the batty boys. Shakespeare, all of them were batty boys. Listen.
For example, in Athens during the 5th and 4th century BC, aside from 2 years military training, the state played little part in schooling. The first schools in ancient Rome arose by the middle of the 4th century. These schools were concerned with the basic socialization and rudimentary education of young Roman children.
In Ghana, they have a term, they say that catch them young and they will be yours forever. So this is the term that the Europeans operate under. You will see examples later on when we are dealing with the activities in Africa. When they came, they knew that the older people, they were into traditions. That's why I said that Europeans think generations, centuries. As for you go to Ghana, their budget is just 2 years. Because there's no dinero. But European budgets, American budget, they talk about generations, 40 years, 50 years plan, 100 years plan. You can't do that in Congo. Even the 1 year plan, at the end of the year, when you go and you evaluate it, it doesn't match. All stories. So education was developed to catch people young so that we will be theirs forever. The powers they be, they are getting richer and richer, and the poor is getting poorer and poorer by the day. And it's all right. And that's why I was having a conversation with some people. I'm like, look at America. There are some cities, it's called zombie city. That the whole place, people are on drugs, walking on the street. There's nothing for them. They are homeless. And their government can spend more than 200 billion and give it to Ukraine so that they can fight Russia. And the people are just there watching their government. Their own tax money is not being used for them. And they are just watching their government because they've been brainwashed. That just wait 4 years, there will be change. 4 years, you move from one demon to the other demon. From Trump to Biden. From Obama to Trump. From George Bush, George Bush, he's someone who likes war and Obama came through peace. The guy has not done anything. They gave him the Nobel Prize. He was a peaceful guy. But when you look at his record, the guy dropped more bombs on people than Bush. It was under him that they toppled all of these strong leaders. Muammar Gaddafi. Obama is walking around as a peaceful man. Schools will teach you, when Obama was such it's a lie. All lies. Listen.
These schools were concerned with the basic socialization and rudimentary education of young Roman children. The literacy rate in the 3rd century BC has been estimated as around 1% to 2%.
Listen.
Education in French-controlled West Africa during the late 1800s.
So we are showing you how formal education started. So now we are moving it towards the end. Now education in French-controlled
West Africa during the late 1800s and early 1900s was different from the nationally uniform compulsory education of France in the 1880s. So you see,
and that's what I told you. The education they introduced to us is not what they are teaching their kids here. Ours is to make sure that we are loyal to the French people, to the Englishman, the ugly Englishman. That you are loyal to the American system. When you go to their countries, they are not feeding their kids with those kind of information. Listen.
Adapted education was organized in 1903 and used the French curriculum as a basis, replacing information relevant to France with comparable information drawn from the African context.
So we will go into depth when we are dealing with the African issues. So we now have the miseducation of the chosen seed. You can look at the pictures. On your left, you have more than 700,000 ancient African books in Timbuktu. It's not in North Africa, in Mali, sub-Saharan Africa. But what would they tell you? Oh, yeah, it is there because they went to Mecca around that time and they learned how to write Arabic. But you go to Mecca, they don't have 700,000 ancient books. All lies. Because they don't just want to accept the fact that this is from blacks. Okay, let's say maybe it's from Arabs. How about the Ethiopian version? Where is it from? So you look to your right and then you see an AIDS-infected pedophile who was there as a so-called missionary, being a teacher. I can guarantee that he sodomized at least half of these kids before he left that village. Who was there sitting and everyone else, he is sitting on a chair and everyone, and that's what people don't, this is mental slavery. He is on top, you are down, sitting on the ground, he is on top. After that, he will sodomize the kids. Listen.
So this is a quote from Minister Justice himself. When your enemies end up becoming your teachers, you are doomed.
And this is where we are. So when we dealt with the whatever about Christianity, the falsehood of Christianity, I think it was called, we could not even conclude because I think we used like 3-4 months until some people on Facebook were going crazy that when are you people going to stop? Why? Because the words, how can someone who enslaved you taught you that you are nothing but an ape? No, they even said that animals were better than you are like, what they call it, 3 feet of a human being. You are worse than their dog. Teach you that you are nothing. How can the same people become your teachers and tell you, oh, just obey us, and then when you die, you go to heaven? And in the heaven, they are also coming there with you. How can a killer and the one who is killed be in the same kingdom, now becoming friends? And because you don't reason, because it is these people that gave you your leaders, your archbishops, your bishops, your prophets, your evangelists, your apostles, you don't see it. They've already stolen your leaders, and once your leaders are stolen, you are in debt. So the scripture says, the Messiah said that when the blind leads the blind, both of them are heading to hell. So you see your leaders, they come and say that, oh, in the name of Jesus, oh, we command. So you think, oh, wow, no. He's deeper than you in hell. So when the one who is your enemy, who wants to steal your house, they want to steal your natural resources, become your leaders, your teachers, you are a doomed person. Listen.
A quote from Malcolm X, and just because you have colleges and universities doesn't mean you have education.
So you see that this quote is totally different from the one we read from him in the beginning. Now he's now being educated. So now he just found out that, hey, just because you have colleges and universities, it doesn't mean that you are having education. That's why I said that true education, when you yourself, you are controlling it. When others are giving it to you, that is not true education. No bunch of people will teach you to become better than them. And this is why there was segregation back then, because they didn't want Black people and white people in the same class. So they taught people, Black people, they are savages, they can't do this, and blah, blah, blah. And nowadays, when they now put up all of us in one class, you have our people who are IT people, doctors, scientists, whatever, and it shows you that no one is better than the other. When given the same opportunities, all can benefit. This is what they dreaded, they feared. Listen.
Proverbs 22 verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from
There
it.
is the new term from Ghana. Catch them young, and they will be yours forever. That's what Proverbs is saying. When you are able to train up a child in the way that he should go, when they are old, the chances of them departing from it is maybe 10%. There's always an option for them. The book of First Maccabees 1 verse 10. From
thence came forth a sinful root, Antiochus Epiphanes, son of King Antiochus. He had been a hostage in Rome.
As soon as the Romans, as soon as the Greek people, as soon as these people touched down, the scripture says there came forth a sinful root, a sinful nation. And that people don't pay attention. The Medo-Persians people came. Elohim, they didn't speak about them like this. They just came, took people over, did whatever. But when these people came, because they come in the way of a snake, they will not even take you away into slavery, but they will enslave you in your own country. Spiritual slavery is more deadly than physical one. Mental slavery. Listen.
Still verse 10. He began to reign in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days, certain renegades came out from Israel.
As it was, so it is. So when you are a leader and people stab you in the back. It's not only you. It has always been there. Who betrayed the Messiah? Who saw Joseph? When you read the book of Amos, it said that for 3 transgressions of Judah and for the 4th, I will not forgive. But they sold the righteous for a pair of shoes. Who sold them? Their own people. So they arose from within our own people that were willing to sacrifice a whole kingdom, their own people, just so that they alone can be rich. And that's why I love that's why I love the Arabs, the wild Arabs, not the compromised ones. Europeans, they don't have to come with a sword into the sub-Saharan terrain anymore. Why? Because they have compromised us through education and religion. So our people can never rise up to challenge them. But the wild Arab, they will be like, no, we don't want you in our country. You are defiling our traditions. You are like, yo, it's good. Destroy our tradition because our tradition is of the devil. We don't want it. We want, so replace that idol, which is black, with Mary, which is white. The black is an idol. The white is from God. The white is a saint. And the black one is a dead one. It's an evil spirit. Listen.
In those days, certain renegades came out from Israel.
Just look at the picture to your right, the one below. Goodness and mercy. You know what? Look at how that father is looking at that little girl. Hey, this is a pedophile. Crazy savage. Listen to the book.
And they misled many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the Gentiles around us. For since we separated from them, many disasters have come upon us.
And that's why sub-Saharan Africa is doomed. Anytime they talk, how like 2023, you align yourself with Europeans and Americans. What is wrong with you? When others are joining, maybe the Chinese and maybe the Russians, we are just embracing the crazy French people, Sarkozy and them guys, Jacques Chirac. Listen to the book.
Verse 12, and this proposal pleased them. And some of the people eagerly went to the king, who authorized them to observe the ordinances of the Gentiles.
Do you see that's what our people have done? Instead of them to be like, hey, let's embrace our own traditions, develop upon it. No, ours is evil. Theirs is fine. Someone who is enslaving you, killing you according to his is fine. He is a saint. He is going to heaven. He has a God who is also loving. And you, as for you, nothing good came from you. Listen to the book.
Verse 14, so they built a gymnasium.
Pay attention. He said, so what they did was, as soon as they saw that our people you now had house Negro and field Negro, the next thing was to build now gymnasium or schools
in Jerusalem,
according
to Gentile custom.
That is a trick. So when they came to Africa, all these missionaries, what they did was they then established schools. You see the examples of them when you look at the pictures. And it was a boarding school. So it was not a school like you go every day and you come back and then your parents can ask you questions and then maybe try to take out the information. You send them maybe 6 months. You don't see them. By the time they come back, brain damage. They are gone. You think they are your kids. If that person comes with a gun and gives it to your kid, will take the gun and kill you. and follow them. Listen.
So they built a gymnasium in Jerusalem according to Gentile custom and removed the marks of circumcision and abandoned the Holy Covenant. They joined with the Gentiles and sold themselves to do evil.
See, they sold themselves to do evil. So that's what they did to the Hebrews. We didn't fight them. Our own people who rose up, we killed them. Look at what they did to Patrick Lumumba in Congo. Look at what they did to Osage for Kwame Nkrumah. They Kufuor and them guys, their forefathers destroyed him. What they work with the CIA, like this guy is deadly. He wants unity among the Africans. He must die. They show you that what is the guy's name? Idi Amin, Uganda. You watch the movie, the Black Prince of Scotland or whatever it was called. Idi Amin. They don't want strong black men, strong black leaders. They will kill you. So you go to now Congo, they don't give a damn about Patrick Lumumba. They love the Kabilas and Mobutu Sese Seko. They love people like they love people like Nelson Mandela, who after he has been he's been in prison for tens of years, came back, and the wife who have been there waiting for him all this while, he divorced her. But as for the white people who were in the country, he pardoned them. Now you go to South Africa, you now have white South Africans. And they are the ones who control the economy. How Negroes became Christians. Dylan talking about education, listen.
The education system in the Greek city-state of Sparta was entirely different, designed to create warriors with complete obedience, courage, and physical perfection. At the age of 7...
So look at it. Back then, it was at the age of 7.
Boys were taken away from their homes.
Boys were taken from their homes
to live in school dormitories, military barracks.
This is what they introduced in Africa. You go to Congo, the French did it. Till date, it has become the norm in I don't know, maybe Congo is abolished, but in Ghana, the boarding school system. Once you are done with primary school and you are going to secondary school, automatically you're going to the boarding school. And it is the most dangerous, yet people have not realized it. Because most people that go to the boarding school, they go there around the age of 14, 15. Go there, don't see your parents for a period of time. Some other crooks will now train you until you are like 18 years. When you are 18, you are going to university. Most of them will go into hostels. They are not living home. In Ghana, they are in hostels. So you lost your child when he or she was 14 years. Because by the time they finish uni, they are going to find a job and they leave home. So when you are done, you think, oh, I train my kids well. No. It's grace. You didn't train any child. The system trained the children. So when you go to boarding school in Ghana, that's where you have lesbianism. Because usually they've separated them. So you have male schools, female schools. What do you think they are doing there? And then, especially, for example, if you enter level 1, you have a senior above who is in level 2, for example, and her senior is at level 3. And it's like you have to serve them. They are like your mentors. They can be like, open your bags, bring your food. They have total control. They can even whip you. So lesbianism and homosexuality come from the secondary school system that was set up by these white people. And it's still there today, even though we claim that we have independence. So you talk to the ordinary Ghanaian, you see that the brain is damaged, but they don't realize it. It came from here 7 years. At the age of 7, they were taken from their parents. Listen.
To live in school dormitories or military barracks. There they were taught sports, endurance and fighting, and little else with harsh discipline.
Listen.
Most of the population was illiterate.
That's what they've done. You can see the pictures. You can see the pictures. You know what Edom has done. And this is why they fear the Arabs. The Arabs, they still have control over their systems because of the extreme things in the Quran. But Africans, we take everything African as evil. You go on YouTube, you listen to Ghana, like all these people who claim to be spiritualists, it's not even funny anymore. It's like everything is a spirit. The tree is a spirit. The river is a spirit. This thing is a spirit. And this spiritly, hey! You go to the boarding schools, the dormitory, that's what they do, chanting, calling up spirits. Calling up spirits. The most deceptive thing on this earth is what they call the spiritual realm. You don't want to enter there. It's the most deceptive world that it can be. Anything can behave as if, and this is the main reason why the scripture, so speaking to, let's say, dead bodies is not necessarily like, was not a capital sin, but it became a capital sin because Yah knows what happens. Because when, my mom is dead, I want to speak to my mom who is dead. When you call up that spirit, what is the guarantee that that which is speaking to is your mom? Because spirit can mimic each other. And that's why people just rise up, they go and they call up any spirit, and then when you are possessed, for us to, it takes something else. And it's not like, and the possession I keep on saying, it's not like people are walking, your eyes are, those are all lies. Or maybe you hear voices in your head. Who doesn't hear voices in his head? If you don't hear voices in your head, it means that you are not a human. When you wake up, for you to eat, you have to have a voice to tell you what you have to eat today. You have to hear voices in your head every day. It means that you are a human being, you are reasoning. Things are happening in your head. History of the Inquisition.
This is page 118. Now came an effort to convert or banish all the Moors.
So, these people, they've deceived us. Because when you dive into the topic of the Moors, that's how you see the level of deception of these people. When they try to link everything to the so-called Arabs. They banish all the Moors.
The inquisitors, headed by Don Diego Deja, successor of Torquemada, and the adherents, plied Ferdinand and Isabella with incessant entreaty to banish all who would not be converted and baptized.
Listen.
They affirmed that by such a measure, the articles of capitulation granted on the surrender of Granada would not be broken, since the condition of the Moors would be bettered by an arrangement of so great advantage to their souls. And they insisted that, as Christians and Mohammedans could not possibly live together in peace, It was necessary for the public good that the latter should either be converted or expelled.
So you see, if you were a Christian, that was fine. But if maybe you were more radical, he said you have to be converted or expelled. So then it should have, since they were Arabs, how come when they were expelling them, they didn't send them to the so-called Middle East? All of them were sent into sub-Saharan Africa. These people, listen.
The same book, page 286, adults were persuaded or intimidated.
See, so when they came to Africa, and this is an example of what happened in Spain and Portugal to our people, and in Africa, adults, because they know that you are already a grown-up person, they were persuaded, influenced. They can grow and become doctors, and they are being persuaded. If you don't accept the persuasion, you are then intimidated. That they bring laws. Yeah, by the law, your child has to go to school until he's like 16. If not, we will take him forcefully from you. And then you are like, okay, let him go to school. How come you make education by force? It means that you have a purpose. There's something you want to accomplish. Listen.
Adults were persuaded or intimidated.
But children
were stolen, baptized,
stolen from their parents, and then baptized.
And brought up in the Jesuits' houses.
Salvation by force to people. Yet they themselves were not saved. Listen.
They were baptized.
Like Sizzler said, spreading churches around the globe. But ask yourself, are you a church? Because the scripture says that you are supposed to be the church. Listen.
The children were baptized and brought up in the Jesuits' houses, and in due time employed to bring in fresh recruits.
You see? So that's what they call evangelism. Fresh recruits. Evangelism. You think your church loves Elohim so much that he wants to bring so many people into so-called heaven? No. They want the church to become mega. It's nothing to do with salvation. They want to lock you. So for you to lock a person, you baptize them in the name of the church. Now you are a church member. Your name is written in the register. And then you feel, oh yeah, I'm part of them. You are a new recruit. Listen.
They were often paraded through the streets.
Singing.
Catechism.
Master, is that what they do? Placard, singing. The women, you have leggings, you are shaking. Of course, we will watch. People will watch. People will claim they've converted because they saw the shakings. Listen.
And every child that could be decoyed to join the processions was taken up by the Jesuits and baptized.
And a great number
of these forcible baptisms were effected in the year 1557, in spite of the resistance of their parents.
That's what they don't teach you. Many people, when we talk about Christianity, they think we are talking about white Christianity. Let me use the term white Christianity. People think it just came like we were just miraculously. No, it came by the sword. It came by the sword. The white people introduced it because they had to tame you. And now they claim, they were bringing salvation. How come when they went to Iraq, Libya, they're not trying to Christianize the people there? But when it comes to you, the chosen people, they have to Christianize you so that you lose your what? Your traditions. You lose who you are. You now see angels as white. If the angel is black, you will call him a demon. God has to be white. The Messiah is white. Mary white. Joseph white. that white people are the most despicable people on earth. They don't believe. So when you read Daniel, said that neither will he regard the gods of even their own fathers. They don't regard it. Listen.
That was it.
Is there a question? Plain and simple. Listen to the book.
Missionary education had a significant impact on the Africans and their culture.
So you see, this is the missionary education. Had a significant impact on
Africans and their culture.
The effects
on the missionaries to the African cultures included an increase in nationalism, the loss of the African cultural identity.
You go to Ghana State, it's like you don't know what is going on. You go to Ashanti Kingdom, you don't know what is going on. Go to Congo, they say it's like even though we claim we are from Congo, it seems that we just abandoned our own nation. It's like we are just living there. Everybody is so westernized. They think American, they think European, and Africa is like they are just there by a mistake. They're not supposed to be there. Listen.
The loss of African cultural identity, disruption to the unity of the Africans, the spread of Christianity through trained Black missionaries.
All these were done through education. They had to make sure that there should be North Sudan and South Sudan. That there should be Congo Brazzaville and Congo DR.
Do you mean here with the first bullet point the decrease, or do you mean something else of nationalism?
It's an increase in nationalism, but it's a fake one. Here's a direct quote. So there are many people who rose up in Africa. When they speak, you think, oh, they are there for the nation. Someone like Akufo-Addo. When he goes out and he speaks, I remember when he started, the whole Africa, they showed like, oh, wow, look at the guy of Ghana. He said that we should not depend on the West. But in the history of Ghana, his government has depended more on the West than any other government. When that guy who is now a president was coming, what did he not say? Look at him now. So it gives that increase in so-called nationalism, but it's a fake one because that nationalism is a compromised nationalism, which was done through education. And then the spread of Christianity through trained Black missionaries, that is through the seminaries. So all of them, you see, they all think alike. Something happens in the Middle East, all of them, people who have been to seminaries, oh yeah, let's pray for Israel. Oh God, they are God's people, because they've been trained through education. Listen.
Christian missionaries were the first to introduce European-style education in sub-Saharan Africa. Mission societies often expanded into territories before colonial powers did, and providing education only cost them a little more.
So you see, those educational things were even so when they came, people think that when they came into Africa, they just came with guns. No. Africa was too big to be conquered. They had to mentally enslave you first. So they came there, first, like Ghana, what they used to call Gold Coast. It didn't include like Kumasi and stuff, because Kumasi was in the interland. It included the Ghana people who were at the coast, the Fanti people, Volta region. That's what they enslaved, they brainwashed them first. So when they had to now go and fight the Ashanti Kingdom, it was the Ghana people, the Fanti people, the Volta people who were the soldiers holding the gun for the white people. They came there. What did they do? They established schools. Then they brainwash you little by little. After just one generation, 40 years, all your kids belong to them. Listen.
A second bullet point. A large body of studies show that missionaries had a lasting impact beyond their early years. Today, local communities and ethnic groups that were more exposed to mission schools still achieve higher levels of education when compared to communities where there were no schools.
So that's what they did in Africa. So they were the ones who brought about discrimination or racism in Africa. They chose certain people from the same community and brainwashed them that they are like the upper class. That's what happened in Rwanda, the Hutus and the Tutsis. One group of people have been brainwashed that they are superior. They give them the guns, the educations, they control the country. So then when the other one tries to rebel, then you have what is known as civil war. All done through education. Divide and conquer. As long as you are divided, look at it, you see the same thing. That's what they've, all these years you've been told, oh, the Arabs, they are one. No, Arabs are not one. They've divided them long time ago. Right? If you go to Saudi Arabia, if you are not an Islam person, you can't go to Mecca. There is a board when you are driving, it will show you unbelievers lane, a Muslim lane heading to Mecca. But actually, who built Mecca? All the skyscrapers there, who built it? Not Arabs. White boys, unbelievers. That's how, because your mind does not work, you just accept it. How can a dog build your city? And after that, you call it a holy city. A swine built it. Calling that which is unholy, holy. That's what Edom does. Listen.
Missionaries continue to be the main providers of education even after colonial powers established.
That is the whole thing. So when, for example, we were having independence, 1957 in Ghana and stuff, and then after that Congo, and we thought, oh, now we now govern. We have a democracy. This our own. One thing that we forget is that the school system built by them did not vanish. As a matter of fact, the principals of these schools were still white people who continued after the independence to teach your children. So you thought now you will raise a generation who become like freedom fighters, will think like Patrick Lumumba, will think like Kwame Nkrumah. No. All of a sudden, after independence, all the people who were raising up were more inclined towards the West. They would now wanted to do a coup d'etat and take out the strong leaders. All done through education. Listen.
Missionaries continue to be the main providers of education even after colonial powers established control during the so-called Scramble for Africa, which occurred between the year 1884 and 1914. Initially, their activities focused on coastal areas.
And that's what I just explained. So when they came, because internals, they couldn't, you can't go to Kumasi. So they first went to the coastal areas, the Gas, the Voltarians, the Fantis, introduce some school system. So that's why even till date, the Fantis in Ghana, they are still the most educated people till date. Well, as for the Fantis, they really embrace the white people. As for the guys, they went off and they abandoned education. But the Fantis, so they are the ones they have the Western name still. They're the ones who are called Livingston. Eh? Listen to the book.
Initially, their activities focused on coastal areas, but with colonial conquest and anti-malaria drugs, they moved further into the continent. Schools were deemed important.
Yes,
they provided missionaries a way to spread Eurocentric norms and attract new converts.
That was done through it. Many people, their concentration is only on the religious aspect. The dangerous one is education. Because with education, you can introduce religion. You cannot just penetrate Congo, penetrate Ghana, and talk about religion. It is like haram to them. They will even stone you when they hear certain things. So you introduce education, and in education, you go to Africa, they have mathematics, English language, physical, whatever, and then they have religious, whatever. That's what they use to brainwash. So your child is going there when doing the religious studies, is being brainwashed with Christianity. Once he reaches 12 years, before he eats, if he doesn't do this and do bind and cut and whatever, he cannot eat because he thinks there is a witch in the food. How can you yourself, you're a Christian? Christians, you yourself, you went to the market, bought all the items, came into your home, washed them, cleaned it, prepared the soup, made the sauce, cooked the rice. And when you are about to eat, in the name of Jesus, any poison in this food, any poison that they've put, who put the poison in the food? Did you not prepare it? Yeah? All because of religion. Your mind is corrupt. I changed the book.
The next slide. Mission schools were popular because of the new skills.
So we've gone to the next slide.
Right.
Okay, you finished this one. Okay. Listen.
Mission schools were popular because of the new skills and opportunities they offered. Being able to speak and write.
Mission school, those are the boarding schools. Dangerous. People, just imagine yourself like in this country, all of these kids who become 14, 15, 16, not living with their parents, and all of them now being camped at dormitory schools, that they only come home during the vacation. And some of them don't even come home because especially the ladies in Ghana, because that's when they lose their virginity and they go bananas. So they don't want to come home during the vacation. So they call their parents. They're like, yeah, we have some classes we have to attend because after the vacation, we have exams. And so I have to learn. And you know, the parents, they don't even want you there because they are tired already. So they're like, it's school. I'll send you mobile money. So if you don't take care, you don't see your kids for 3 years. When they come back, their eyes are red. They've been smoking trees. Listen to them.
So the mission schools were popular because of the new skills and opportunities they offered. Being able to speak and write in the colonizer's language was considered a privilege.
So you go to Ghana, someone who speaks better English is considered as an educated or intelligent, like Akufo-Addo, because he schooled in UK. When he speaks, even illiterates are like, whoa, that guy is so intelligent. Why? Because he speaks good English. Yet you ask him for a certificate, he can't provide it for you. He doesn't know where it is. Akufo-Addo is the only person who so-called claimed to have a degree, but he has no classmates. That guy, the fraud that they sold to God. Everything about him is fake. Listen to the book.
It offered the most direct path towards prestigious jobs in colonial administrations and European enterprises.
Back then, what they did was, if you go to school, then the jobs at the mines and those kind of things, then your kids will go. So then they use that to brainwash the kids. Listen.
However, attending mission schools also meant exposure to colonial indoctrination.
Once you attended the school, you were now being exposed to the colonial or the Western indoctrination. They teach you white is good, black is not good. Listen.
This conditioning was focused on norms that missionaries deemed incompatible with a Christian way of life.
So then they studied the African culture and they saw the unity, the social life, and they said, this is too strong, we have to break it. So then, what did they do?
While they frowned upon bride wealth, female genital cutting, or matrilinity, they held a special grudge against polygamy.
See? So they have showed you all of that. They ignore certain aspects which could even be deemed a little evil. And their main focus went against what? Polygamy. They have to take that out. Taking that out, they could now introduce what? Bestiality to you, LGBT, homosexuality. Because as long as there's a polygamy there, it means that the people will continue to multiply themselves. Once we attack that, now your population begins to decline. They've thought about all of these things. Listen to the book.
In 1910, a prominent report of the World Missionary Conference concluded.
To look at the conclusion of all missionaries, white missionaries, when they came together, there can be no question
of polygamy.
It is simply
one of the gross evils of heathen society,
which,
like habitual murder or slavery, must at all costs be ended.
Now they compare polygamy to killing. Can you imagine this? Yet LGBT, homosexuality was fine. So just look at the picture. The one above, you call him Bonuman. The one below is a Catholic priest. All of them holding some form of a stick. One is an idol, one is a saint. Goodness, you listen.
The insistence on monogamy caused a great confusion, but the African could not understand how he could drive away his wives.
After they attacked polygamy and whatnot, now the former president of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, he quoted and said that now for the African could no longer understand how all of a sudden he has to drive away his wives and children. Because now it is being preached that it's haram. Can you imagine back then, you are married to, let's say, 4 wives. Now you have to go to a church and you are being told what you have done is haram. It's an abomination. You are going to hell. What do you do now with the kids? What do you do now with the wives? That was the beginning of the destruction of the African society. Listen.
For the African could not understand how he could drive away his wives and children, especially in a community where motherhood is looked upon as a religious duty. The children are regarded as part and parcel, not only of the father, but of the whole clan.
Listen.
And without them, the Mbari or the clan is lost. It was also terribly hard for a woman to be driven away.
Because now wives are now being sent away as separated, divorced.
And to lose her status in the society where she is respected as a wife and a mother.
Before then, we didn't have much divorce in Africa. After they introduced the educational system, that was it. They abolished polygamy, gave you one woman, one husband, and yet we are divorcing. Just one, we can't even live with one. And you say that you are doing better than your so-called grandfathers. According to you, they were possessed, they were demons. They could live with 4. You, just one, you can't survive with all your enlightenment. Listen to the book.
The screenshot below. Additionally, the Africans lost their cultural identity in the field of education as the majority of the Africans converted from their traditional way of life to the new religion introduced by the missionaries.
And this was not done through religion, and this is done through education. By the time you finish school, you abandon your traditions. Now you want to become a priest for the Catholic people. Listen.
As a result of the cultural change, there was no one to teach upcoming generation the tribal history and belief.
You go to Congo. Look at a country like Congo. You think that they don't even have a tradition. They've destroyed the kingdom. So that's why some of us, some people see us as traditionalists because we look at the Ashanti kingdom, we are happy. It's not that we support everything they do, but at least you have a reference point. You go to other nations in Africa, it's like they didn't exist, they were just dumped in that country. They are just there. They are like white people in black bodies. Listen to the book.
The majority of the people were focused on learning the new culture and new lifestyles, which continuously led to the loss of the community culture. Unlike traditional education, Christian education introduced by the missionary used the Bible to teach the converts how to read and other language skills. The missionaries also used the Bible to teach the Africans the Western practices and belief, and to show them that what they were doing was immoral and against the will of God.
So that's what. So they had you through education, but once you were at the boarding school, they were using Bible, their version of the Bible, their version, to teach you, to brainwash you. Oh, everything is white. Oh, this is why God is white, Mary is white, all the people are white. You know what you people are doing is evil. And get into the book.
In Western Africa, even the structure of the government was changed. When the missionaries got into Western Africa, they embarked on a mission to change the structure of the government by introducing a parliamentary system of the government. The missionaries attempted to westernize the unifying government by adding the district commissioners, the court system, as well as the court messengers.
And this will show you how deadly these people are. Who colonized Western Africa and Eastern Africa? It's the Europeans, right? And since they were the one who set up the governmental system, then they should have introduced to us the same system, the prime minister system they are using here. But what did they do to you? They gave you the American system, where you vote and you can only vote again after 4 years. But here in Europe, the prime minister system, it consists of various parties. Should one party not agree with a certain policy and they pull out, the government falls. We have to go and vote again. They don't want that. That's how evil they are. If that was in Africa, then the leaders will be held accountable. But now you have executive power, like in America. The president is above all, is not accountable to any person. You can't call him you can't summon him to the parliament house. But if it was a prime ministerial system, he is part of the parliament. He can be questioned. These people, Listen. Or is done this one. Let's go to the next slide. So we are getting there, the hypocrisy of the Western educational system. I just want to show you examples. They've condemned you. Polygamy is wrong. This is wrong. But look at the hypocrisy of their system. Listen.
Homosexuality was classified as a mental disorder in the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual.
People, until 1969, the European education, when you went to basic school, primary school, secondary school, university, you were taught that homosexuality is a mental disorder. Anyone who practices it is mad. These people, listen.
It was classified as a mental disorder in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, beginning with the first edition published in 1952 by the American Psychiatric Association. This classification was challenged by gay rights activists in the years following the 1969 Stonewall riots. And in December 1973, the APA Board of Trustees voted to declassify homosexuality as a mental disorder.
So it was around 1974 that they voted a vote. So whatever we are learning is just nonsense. By a vote, they can decide the path of your education. Let's vote. Who is against? Who is in favor? And then after that, okay, now it's no more mental disorder. Listen.
In 1974, the DSM was updated and homosexuality was replaced with a new diagnostic code for individuals distressed by their homosexuality. Distress over one's sexual orientation remained in the manual under different names until the DSM-5.
So now they brought it down. They call it maybe distressed people, stressed people. And then it was just there till 2013. So if you have paid attention, that's when they were introducing these movies to you, and then you see gay couples being beaten, and then you watch, you're like, oh, they are desensitizing your sensitivity for you to accept every nonsense. So just look at the pictures. Just look at that. Mr. Adam marrying Mr. Adam. And then when the homosexuality was accepted, now they had to introduce to you the mother serpent itself. LGBT. There's no end to it. Listen to the book.
LGBT is an initialism that stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. In use since the late 1980s, the initialism, as well as some of its common variants, function as an umbrella term for marginalized sexualities and gender identities. LGBT is an adaptation of LGB, which began to replace the term gay or gay and lesbian.
So now you don't talk about someone being gay or lesbian. It's like anyone can carry the flag, LGBT. You can't classify the person. You don't know whether he sleeps with robots or beasts or his father or his mother. You can't. You don't know what. You cannot call him a he or she. Now you have to refer to that person as an it. Jeff shared something with us this week. Was it which university was that? Utrecht or wherever. How can you imagine you go to the university and the restroom, the toilets? There's no male or female on it anymore. And all of us are entering it. Can you imagine this? And that's the thing with you women. You want that right. Have you seen where it has led you to? Now if you have crazy people now entering there, usually you could now, when you had your own, you could, that's where you were beautifying yourself in the mirrors. Now you are standing there and Mr. Adam is looking at you with an eye. That's what you wanted. Now you have it. Listen to the book.
In reference to the broader LGBT community, beginning in the mid-late 1980s, when not inclusive of transgender people, the shorter LGB is still used.
So just look at the picture. Just look. There's no end to it. There is no end to it. This is the Western educational system. Listen.
So gender confirmation surgeries, the name given to procedures that change the physical appearance and function of sexual characteristics, increased by 20% from 2015 to 2016 in the US, with more than 3,000 such operations performed last year. Rates are also increasing worldwide.
So someone changing his or her private parts into something else is on the increase. Listen.
Now, at least one surgeon is reporting a trend of regret. The urologist explains to The Telegraph that those who want the reversal display high levels of depression and, in some instances, suicidal thoughts. Other researchers also report hearing about such regrets.
When your rights are not being guided, you become like an animal. Because so the studies is showing that many people, when they are in stress, they tend to take certain decisions that are detrimental to them. So, I feel like a woman, I want to be a woman. So now you are forgetting that maybe you had a circle, all your friends, Now you go change your private parts, put on female attire. Now you come and ring my doorbell. I open it and I see Mr. Steve, who is now a woman. You think I'll open my door for you? So then, now you find out that now you are now being rejected by the people you try to please. So then they are committing suicide. So just look at the pictures. These are the same individuals, becoming women. And you people who visit the clubs and you eat padus, and then you see stars. And you see this one, you're like, wow, hi, are you Emilia? No. It's Emmanuel that you are seeing. Listen to the book.
Charles Kane, who identified as Sam Hashimi after male to female reassignment surgery, opted to become a man again after experiencing hormonal regret in the BBC documentary One Life, Make Me a Man Again. Kane explained he originally wanted to become a woman after a nervous breakdown.
And that's the thing. Because once you give people so much right, as soon as people are stressed or they experience something, they I just want this. And because the thing is there, you give it to them. And then when they face reality, then it becomes an issue. Now he said, make me a man again. Who made you a woman? Listen to the book.
When I was in the psychiatric hospital, there was a man on one side of me who thought he was King George.
So there's someone who was at the psychiatric hospital, and he saw someone at the psychiatric hospital who thought he was King George. It's like me thinking that I'm Queen Elizabeth. And then what happened?
And another guy on the other side who thought he was Jesus Christ.
So then he decided he wanted to be Sam. Can you imagine this? Just like that. So then he went and changed the organs. That is his own private business. So then look at the confusion. Let's use some scriptures. Daniel 11.
Verse 37. Neither shall he regard.
So he's telling you that the people that brought the sword, the media, that false education, those people, they will not even regard their own gods. And they don't even talk about their own gods. This God is not about Elohim, it's about their own. So now, people who were worshiping all manner of whatever, now they tell you they are atheists, they don't believe. Yet they have the Buddha head in their office. Of his fathers, nor
the desire of women.
If you take the ordinary European, 70% plus are batty boys. No regard
of any god,
for he shall
magnify himself
the ones
above
who
all.
are above everything. They can go to space, they can do whatever they want. Therefore, Romans warned you 1:20 and 4-27. Wherefore,
also gave them up to uncleanness,
through
the lust of their own heart, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of Yah into a lie.
They are the ones who changed the truth of Yah into a lie. I told you that the Israelis are Israelites. Listen to the book.
And worshipped and served the creature more than the creator,
so
who
now
is
you are
blessed
worshiping
forever.
people instead of worshiping Elohim. When you close your eyes, you see the image of what you call Jesus Christ. You don't see the invincible Elohim anymore. Those are the people who did it. Romans, Europeans, Western people. Listen to the book.
For this cause,
Elohim said, okay, no problem. Then I'll also change you.
For this cause, Yah gave them up unto vile affections.
He gave them up to demons to possess them. For even their women
did change the natural use into that which is against nature.
And became lesbians. Listen.
And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one towards another.
It takes some level of lust. Want to look at another man and be like, I like this boy. I love him. Listen to the book.
Men with men, working that which is unseemly,
which is haram. Listen.
And receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat.
Just look at the picture. They've been practicing it ever since. It's nothing new. So just look at this picture. I wanted to show you something. In education, when you go to school, and Africans, they were fighting themselves. We go. Yes, these are the battles for the last 4,500 years. Where white is, that's where battles are. Just look at Western Europe. Such a small place, just look at the level of madness. Northern America. But they teach you, oh, it was the Africans who were always fighting in Africa. No. The Europeans, they show you the movies. Their movies, they are Scottish against England, this against Wales. They are just savages. They are the original savages. And then just look at this picture. These are pictures taken from the pyramids, the ones up. Yet Europeans can teach you at school that Egyptians were white people. And it's being taught through education. Why? Because as soon as you identify the original Egyptians as black, you know the original people of the book. You see similarities between the photo, ancient photo, and modern photo beneath. Same people, nothing new. We are concluding. Any questions? Listen.
This is a quote from Malcolm X. I have often reflected upon the new vistas that reading has opened to me. I knew right there in prison that reading had changed forever the course of my life. As I see it
That's
today.
Why we keep on telling, keep on researching, reading. Educate yourself. Don't let some people brainwash you. Listen.
As I see it today, the ability to read awoke inside me some long dormant craving to be mentally alive.
So once that opens, you begin to research, you begin to compare and contrast. That's when you read something, no, this is a lie. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't belong here. It doesn't matter whether it is in Quran or in the scriptures. You question everything. Because precept must be upon precept, line upon line. So when you are reading something in the scriptures which has been inserted, when you put things like Easter and stuff, you know that this doesn't belong here. Isaiah
5 verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good.
So he's telling you that now woe unto you who call evil good
and good evil.
And good evil.
That put darkness for light.
That put darkness over light.
And light for darkness.
And light for darkness.
That put bitter for sweet.
And
sweet for bitter.
Just look at the picture. And this is not AI generated picture. This is real. All of these Oyibo children sitting there. And look at who is teaching them. To the white people, the parents, this is normal. No one will question it. But if it was maybe a religious priest who sat there, hey, what are you trying to teach my children? I can't believe this. Huh? Listen to the book.
Isaiah 60 verse
For behold,
2, the darkness shall cover the earth.
The gross
darkness, the people,
but yeah,
shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. You just have
to pray and hope that the sun. We are not talking about the SUN. We are talking about the SON. The Messiah will shine upon you in this darkness. Otherwise, you are gone. You are gone. He said there will be darkness everywhere, but his sun will still shine upon his people. Therefore, Isaiah shouted again in chapter 1, verse 9, he said, except
Yah of hosts
has left
unto us a very small remnant.
We are not many. Except Elohim had left us a very small remnant.
We should have been as Sodom.
All of us would have been classified as Sodomites. It is Yah who shows mercy. And when your children are able to grow up, and they raising like a human being, be thankful to Elohim. Here's what they are experiencing at school. Just look at that. Just look at these pictures. Can you imagine this? What do you think these children will become? Yet they will tell you they don't believe. Since you don't believe, how come you are able to create all these creatures, these demonic creatures? Who is feeding you that information? Just look at the next one. And these are the ones who are going to grow up and become your prime ministers and your teachers and your doctors and your nurses. The final picture, look at them. They are now all the way down on your right. They are now accepting the devil as their personal savior. That's what they are doing. And there's no outrage. It's just normal. Yeah, today they will be coming to a ring. So around 4, I have to bring the volume of the ring down so that I don't hear them. You'll be collecting whatever. The final one in conclusion.
Gad the Seer, chapter 1, verse 5.
Listen to what Gad the Seer says.
And it came to pass.
Obadiah says things about Edom, but Gad the Seer. That guy, listen to him.
And it came to pass.
And it came to pass when
I finished crying out.
He has finished crying out. What do you do in your church? So-called assassinating Satan. Came to pass when I had finished crying out unto Elohim, that behold, I opened my eyes.
And I saw a yoke of oxen.
That's one yoke of oxen. This is a vision led by
a donkey and a camel
coming
up from the Kidron stream.
The donkey
on the right side of the yoke,
and
the camel on the left.
And then there was a great and dreadful voice,
like the roll of thunder was following them,
crying with a bitter voice,
Seer,
saying, Seer, 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 3 times.
These are 4 mixtures that confuse the people of Yah.
These are 4 mixtures. These are 4 abominations. These are 4 calamities that confuse
the people of Yah.
The people that the whole world is confused. The Hebrews, all of them are confused. They are either into Christianity or Islam or whatever nonsense. So these are the 4. He cried with a loud voice, with a bitter voice. 3 times he called him Seer, Seer. These are 4 mixtures, 4 abominations, 4 calamities that confuse the people of Elohim. Listen, he's now going to mention them 1.
For the impure and the pure have been mixed.
What are you saying? That which was supposed to be pure and pure, they are now breeding together. That is the first confusion.
And then impurity took control
because
over
they started
purity.
Mixing now, impurity
took
has now taken control over that which ought to be pure.
A mixture from Seir.
And then he said there was a mixture from Seir, Edom,
to rule over them.
To rule. Once the mixture took place, now Edom now rules over us. We see them as superior. They rule over us. And the purpose is
to increase power over.
So now they have power over your people.
And betray.
And therefore, because they have power over us, your people will now betray
a righteous doer.
Anyone who is a righteous person is classified as radical. So your church people, and like Minister Jeff said, so there was these Pentecostal Christian churches or whatever they are called, Pentecostal Christian Churches Conference or whatever their name is. They could come together and be like, there's a new voice, they're anti-this, let us pray against them. And they were praying against us because we were bringing new information. But this Pentecostal Churches Council or whatever, you have Methodist, you have Pentecost, you have Pentecost Revival, you have all these denominations, right? All of them with different doctrines. Is that not confusing? And one does not cross the other. To them, our doctrine is the best. The other one, their doctrine is not good yet. They're all together, but as soon as they hear a new information, let us pray against them. It's haram. Why? Because they are teaching the black people that they are Hebrews, so this can't come. That's the whole thing, Teaching the original people that they are Hebrews, no, it's haram. You've been praying, we are still preaching. We are getting worse. Nothing has changed. We don't have time to pray against you. We will all be judged at the end of the day. Listen to the book.
Verse 10, to destroy holiness.
See? And then the last one, the 4th one, is to destroy holiness.
To crown wickedness.
And then crown wickedness.
To set up impure matters
in the guise
of purity.
So that which is an abomination, when it is placed before you now, you think it's normal. So even though the scripture speaks about images and idols and whatnot, when it is in Africa, you call it an idol. When it is in Europe, you said, oh, it's normal, it's a saint. Oh, there's nothing wrong. Oh, we just use it for the kids, Why don't you use that idol in Africa for the kids? That one you fear. But you don't fear the white one because you've been told that one is a saint. That one is a righteous one. This is Gad the Seer. What he saw thousands of years before even the New Testament came. And we are fulfilling it. We are seeing it with our eyes. Feely. We are seeing it. So, are there any questions? There are no questions. Everything is plain and simple. So, I hope you've learned something. You've seen the educational system. It's more deadlier than the media. Because for you to accept what the media is teaching you, they've groomed you already. So during this war, you will not, if you're a sensible person, and your brains are working, during this war against so-called Hamas, you will not watch CNN for your information. Because they are going to brainwash you. Like Malcolm X said, CNN will end up making you love the oppressor and then hate the oppressed. That's what they will do. They will make you hate the Palestinians who are being bombed and love the Israelis. They would, oh, they are God's people. When did God speak to CNN? Huh? When did they see God? A bunch of unbelievers telling you that these are God's people. I don't know what Christians, unbelievers, people who claim they don't believe, telling you, Christian, these are the Israelites of your book. So I hope you've learned something. Ponder about these things. Next week, when we will come with a different theme or topic. So tune in. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are not on TikTok. We are not on any other platforms. We are on SoundCloud. I don't know what the heck did they do on TikTok anyway. That's another story for another day. So do your research. Continue to enlighten yourself. Read, do your research. Contact any person who can help you. We are not the only people who speak the truth. Anywhere you can find the truth, our advice is join them. We are not the Alpha and the Omega. Elohim has always hid within a city people who have not bowed to the images. So they are there behind the scenes. Pray for us. We also pray for you, and do not do anything that when your neighbors find out that you will not be proud of. A word to a wise is enough. Salam.